My name is Mildred, and at 28 years old, I paid for my sister's dream wedding, thinking I was doing something good. The day of the wedding, I found out I wasn't even invited. I didn't make a scene, I just walked away. 3 hours later, she wouldn't stop calling. The notification popped up on my phone. If you have ever felt betrayed by the people who should have been your biggest supporters, let me know where you are watching from. While I was sitting in my car, about to head to the venue, I had been checking my messages all morning, expecting something. Maybe a last-minute request from my sister. Maybe a panicked call from the wedding planner. Instead, it was a text from my sister, just hours before the ceremony was supposed to start. Hey Mildred, I wanted to talk to you before today, but things got so busy. I hope you understand. But we had to finalize the guest list and we decided to only invite couples to keep things balanced. I know you get it. Let's celebrate together after the honeymoon, okay? Love you. I blinked at my screen, my hands tightening around my phone, so hard I thought I might crack it. I read it again and again. Really? Inviting couples? The words blurred in front of me as I tried to process what she was actually saying. I wasn't invited to the wedding I had paid for. For months I had been at her beck and call. I had put my own life on hold, draining thousands of my hard-earned savings to give her the wedding of her dreams. And now, at the very last second, she was telling me that I wasn't even important enough to be there. I could barely breathe. I had given up so much for this wedding, more than anyone knew. I had postponed my own vacation, the first real trip I had planned in years, so I could afford to cover the extra expenses when her budget unexpectedly ran out. I had put off buying a new car, even though mine was on its last legs, because she needed someone to pay the final deposit on the venue. I had picked up extra shifts, worked late nights, skipped outings with friends, all so she wouldn't have to stress about money. When she called me crying about how expensive florists were, I had been the one to say, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." When she panicked over the rising cost of catering, I had pulled out my credit card without a second thought, reassuring her, "You deserve the best. I've got this." I had planned her bachelorette trip, paid for decorations, bought her dream wedding dress when she realized she couldn't afford it. And through all of it, she had looked me in the eyes, hugged me, called me the best sister in the world. Never once did she hint that I wasn't on the guest list. Never once did she warn me. And now, hours before the ceremony, she had the nerve to text me like it was nothing. Like she was casually letting me know about a schedule change, like I wasn't standing outside the venue ready to celebrate her when she had already made up her mind that I wasn't welcome. I squeezed my eyes shut, my pulse pounding in my ears. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the humiliation. The thought of everyone sitting inside that beautiful venue, a venue I paid for, while I wasn't even allowed through the doors. The thought of people asking, "Where's Mildred?" only to be told some lie about why I wasn't there. The thought of my own sister knowing she had done this to me and still feeling nothing. She hadn't even given me the courtesy of a phone call. I exhaled shakily, my grip on the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. I could have stormed inside, made a scene, demanded answers. But I wouldn't, because deep down I knew the truth. She didn't deserve my reaction. She didn't deserve to know how much she had hurt me. And she sure as hell didn't deserve me sitting in that parking lot crying over her choices. I took one last look at the venue, at the guests arriving in their elegant outfits, laughing, chatting, completely unaware that the person who had made this all possible was being shut out like a stranger. Then, without another word, I put my car in drive and left. She wanted a perfect wedding. She could have it without me. Growing up, Lily had always been the one everyone loved. The charming, bubbly, effortlessly popular little sister who made friends instantly, could talk her way out of anything, and never had to try too hard. Me? I was the opposite. I wasn't just shy, I was awkward. The kind of kid who never knew the right thing to say, who never quite fit in. Even in elementary school, it was obvious. Lily would come home from school bouncing with excitement about birthday party invitations, play dates, new best friends. Meanwhile, I would sit at the kitchen table pretending I didn't care that my own invitations never came. By middle school, it was worse. Lily had become the type of girl everyone wanted to be around. She was effortless, pretty, confident, funny. Teachers adored her. Parents called her a delight. Me, I had already been labeled weird, boring, the girl no one wanted to sit with. I never figured out exactly why. I wasn't mean. I didn't smell bad. I didn't have some dramatic incident that made me an outcast. I was just there, the invisible girl, or worse, the girl people whispered about. By high school, I wasn't just ignored, I was actively avoided. The mobbing started in small ways. People accidentally spilling drinks on my homework. The anonymous notes shoved in my locker. Whispers and giggles every time I walked into a room. I tried not to let it get to me, kept my head down. I focused on school. I told myself it didn't matter what people thought of me. But the worst part? Lily pretended not to know me. At home, we were sisters. We'd talk, laugh, share stories. She'd come to my room, borrow my clothes, ask me for advice about boys, tell me about all the drama in her friend group. But at school, I was a stranger. I still remember the first time it happened. I was walking through the hallway carrying a stack of books when someone stuck out their foot and tripped me. Everything went flying. My books, my papers, my dignity. A group of kids burst into laughter. I was on my hands and knees, scrambling to pick up my things, my face burning, my throat tight. And then I saw her, Lily, standing just a few feet away. She saw me. I know she saw me. Our eyes met for half a second, and I swear I saw something flicker across her face. Maybe pity, maybe guilt. But you know what she did? Nothing. She turned away, kept walking, didn't say a word, didn't help, didn't acknowledge me at all. And just like that, I knew. I was an embarrassment to her. I was the sister she had to pretend didn't exist at school, so she could keep her perfect, untouchable reputation. After that, I stopped expecting anything from her. And for years, I thought I had made peace with it. Once high school ended, everything changed. I went to college, started fresh. I worked hard, built a career, became independent. And Lily? She grew up too. She became nicer, more thoughtful. She called me when she needed advice. She texted me when she was struggling. She even apologized once, half-heartedly, about high school. You know how it is, Mildred. It's just high school. We were all dumb back then. And I believed her. I thought, we're adults now. We're different. That part of our past didn't matter anymore. But now, sitting alone, staring at the text that told me I wasn't invited to her wedding because I didn't have a date, I realized something. It had never really changed. She still didn't want to be associated with me. She still thought I wasn't worth including. She was still keeping her distance, making excuses, making sure I wasn't seen at her perfect event. And the worst part? I had let myself believe we were close. I had given everything I had to her again. I had funded the most important day of her life, and in return, she had done the same thing she did all those years ago. She had turned her back on me. I exhaled, my hands clenched into fists. This time, I wouldn't let it slide. This time, I wouldn't let her pretend I didn't exist while benefiting from my generosity. This time, she would learn exactly what it meant to shut me out. The calls started that same night. At first, I ignored them. I saw Lily's name flashing on my phone as I sat in my apartment, curled up on the couch, sipping the glass of wine I had poured myself after getting home. It was supposed to be a celebration, after all, just not hers. The first call I let ring out. Then came the second, then the third. By the time she hit 7 missed calls, I knew she had figured it out. I didn't bother checking my messages at first. I wanted to save her this moment. The moment she finally realized that she couldn't just use me and discard me like she always had, because that's exactly what she had done. I thought back to the day she got engaged, when she called me screaming with joy, telling me I was going to be her maid of honor, that she couldn't do this without me. How she had pulled me into every single decision, except apparently the guest list. How she had let me fund her dream wedding, handle the planning, pick up the bills for the things she wanted but couldn't afford. And then hadn't even found me important enough to be there. She thought she could just tell me at the last minute, soften the blow with a fake apology, and I'd just take it. She thought I'd let it slide like I always had. Not this time. I picked up my phone and scrolled through the unread messages. Lily, hey, where are you? Lily, Mildred, please pick up. This is really serious. Lily, I know you're mad, but you don't understand. Everything is going wrong. Good, I smirked, tapping the message thread open, scrolling through the increasingly desperate texts. Lily, the venue won't let us in because they never got the full payment. They're saying the deposit was reversed. Lily, where are you? Lily, the caterer isn't here. We tried calling them, but they said the final payment was never received. Lily, did you do something? My smirk widened. Oh, Lily, not something. Everything. I had made one single phone call after driving away from the venue after I had read that text telling me I wasn't invited. A simple call to my bank, calmly listing every charge that was still pending. Hi, I'd like to dispute some charges on my credit card. Yes, those are the ones. The venue, the catering, the florals. No, I did not receive the services I paid for. I need to cancel them immediately. That was all it took. Every payment I had made for her wedding, gone. Every vendor that was expecting money, now looking elsewhere for their paycheck. The entire wedding collapsing in real time. I could only imagine what it must have been like. Lily, walking into the venue expecting perfection, only to be met with a locked door and a manager telling her that no final payment had been made. Lily, waiting for a catering truck that never showed up. Lily, watching the flowers never arrive, the DJ cancel last minute, the guests murmuring, wondering why everything was falling apart. I could almost hear the embarrassment in her voice as she scrambled to explain, to fix it, to make it someone else's fault. But there was no one else to blame, because the only person who had paid for it in the first place had walked away, and now she was panicking. The phone rang again, and this time I answered. I barely got the word hello out before Lily's voice shrieked through the line. Mildred, what did you do? I pulled the phone away from my ear, wincing at the sheer volume of her rage. Lily, I said coolly, you're going to have to be a little more specific. She was breathing heavily, like she had just run a marathon, or more likely, had just spent the past hour running around in a blind panic, trying to fix a disaster she didn't understand. The wedding, the venue, the caterer, everything is falling apart. Huh, I said, leaning back against my couch. That sounds awful. Don't play dumb, I know it was you. I tilted my head. Lily, what exactly are you accusing me of? You canceled everything. I sighed dramatically. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I wasn't invited, so it's really none of my business, is it? There was a moment of stunned silence. I could hear her struggling for words, trying to twist this into my fault somehow. And then, unbelievably, she switched tactics. Hey, I get it, you're mad. But listen, if you just fix this, I'll invite you to the reception. Just call the vendors, pay them again, and we'll pretend this never happened. I almost laughed out loud. So now I was invited? Now that everything had gone to hell? Now that she had humiliated herself in front of all her guests? Now that she needed me to fix it? I let a long silence stretch between us before I finally spoke. You know what, Lily? I said, my voice light. You made it clear I wasn't important enough to be at your wedding. So why would my money be? Mildred, don't. I hung up. The text came pouring in seconds later. Lily, are you serious? Lily, you ruined my wedding. Lily, how could you do this to me? I smiled, setting my phone down on the table. Oh, Lily, you ruined your wedding the moment you decided I wasn't worthy of being there. All I did was make sure my money wasn't there either. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the girl left out. I felt like the girl who had finally walked away. The text kept coming. By the time I woke up the next morning, there were over 20 unread messages waiting for me. I scrolled through them lazily, sipping my coffee, watching the panic unfold in real time. Lily, you don't understand what you've done. Lily, this isn't just about me. You embarrassed our whole family. Lily, Mom and Dad are furious with you. Lily, I hope you're happy. You completely destroyed the most important day of my life. I set my phone down and exhaled slowly. I had been expecting that last one. I knew Lily. I knew how her mind worked, and I knew that in her head, nothing was ever her fault. She wasn't sorry for what she had done to me. She wasn't sorry for using me, for taking my money, for deciding I wasn't worthy of being at the event I had paid for. She was only sorry that it backfired. And now, just as I predicted, she had gone running to Mom and Dad, ready to rewrite the story so that I was the villain. I sighed. Here we go. Right on cue, my phone rang. I considered letting it go to voicemail, but I knew that would only make things worse. I took a deep breath and picked up. Mildred, her voice was sharp, disappointed, already filled with the weight of an argument she had already decided she had won. What did you do to your sister? I let out a short laugh, shaking my head. I don't know, Mom. What did Lily tell you I did? She told me you sabotaged her wedding, that you took back all the payments just to punish her. I closed my eyes, pressing my fingers against my temple. She didn't tell you why, did she? Pause. Just a fraction of a second, enough for me to know the answer. I smiled bitterly. Of course. Lily had left that part out. I bet she told them I had canceled the payments out of pure spite, just to make her life miserable. But she didn't tell them the real reason. She didn't tell them I wasn't even invited. Mildred, whatever happened, you should have handled it differently. She's your sister. I clenched my jaw. There it was. That familiar expectation. That unspoken rule that had followed me my entire life. That no matter what Lily did, No matter how she treated me, no matter how badly she hurt me, it was my job to be the bigger person, to suck it up, to forgive, to put her first. And for the first time, I refused. "You know what, Mom?" I said, keeping my voice even. "Lily made her choice. She made it very clear I wasn't welcome at her wedding, so I made sure my money wasn't there either. Seems fair to me." "Mildred!" "No." My voice was firm. "I am done being treated like I don't matter. I spent months helping Lily plan that wedding. I paid for everything. I sacrificed my time, my money, my own plans, just to make sure she had the perfect day, and she knew that, and she still decided I wasn't good enough to be there." Silence. For the first time, my mother had nothing to say, because there was nothing she could say. Lily had crossed a line even she couldn't explain away, and she knew it. "Mildred," Mom's voice was softer now, hesitant. "I know you're hurt, but nothing." I cut her off. "I am done being the one who fixes things. I am done being the backup plan, and I am done being taken advantage of. If Lily wants to play the victim, that's her problem. But I'm not going to apologize for standing up for myself." She exhaled slowly. "So that's it?" she asked finally. "You're just going to cut your sister out of your life?" I thought about that. And then I thought about high school, when she pretended not to know me. I thought about all the times she used me growing up. I thought about every time I was the last priority. And then I thought about this wedding. How she had lied to my face. How she had made promises she never intended to keep. How she had known the entire time she wasn't inviting me but had still taken my money. Had still let me believe I was part of it. Had still used me one last time before throwing me aside. And I knew my answer. "No, Mom," I said simply. "Lily cut me out of her life the moment she decided I wasn't important enough to be there." I hung up before she could say anything else. The relief was instant. Like a weight had been lifted off my chest. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one chasing. I wasn't the one fixing things, I was just done. And it felt good. I blocked Lily's number that night. I didn't care what else she had to say, because at the end of the day, I wasn't sorry. Not for canceling the payments. Not for ruining her wedding. Not for finally putting myself first.